Welcome to the Fitness Business Freedom Show, where we're not just building businesses, we're building legacies. I'm your host, Justin Hanover, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for Season 4, 7-Figure Gym Stories. In this season, we're diving deep into the minds of successful 7-figure gym owners. We're pulling back the curtain, revealing the strategies, mindset shifts, and hard-earned lessons that propelled them to the top. Whether you're a seasoned gym owner or just starting out, you'll gain actionable insights to supercharge your business and create a life of freedom and fulfillment. So let's unlock the secrets to 7-figure success together. Tune into each episode and join the movement of fitness entrepreneurs who are making a difference.
Before we jump into today's episode, let's talk about what we do best at Fitness Revolution, building high-performing teams. Did you know that underperforming teams can cost your gym anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 a year? That's leaving a lot on the table. To help avoid this, we've created a free hiring scorecard. This tool will help you identify the best talent and build a team that drives revenue and loyalty. Head over to our show notes to grab your free scorecard today. Let's build a stronger team together. Now for today's episode, I'm excited to have Siavash Fashi, CEO and founder of SIXPAX Gym, with me today. Siavash has built one of the most successful gyms in America, but that didn't come without countless obstacles, from battling cancer, spending a year in maximum security prison, on top of just the normal small business struggles that you'd experience. He is also the author of Small Gym, Big Results. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Siavash.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. First, I want to thank you for building a platform and giving opportunity to people like myself to share their story and educating people. I'm here, ready and pumped up to share my story, and hopefully it'll be of value to your listeners.
No, absolutely. As we were talking before, I saw a little of your story unfold from another podcast that you're on, and I was like, I knew right away, okay, we need to have you on to be able to share this because you definitely have an amazing journey, one that I think obviously is the purpose of your book too, inspiring others through adversity and different things that you go through. So let's kind of obviously open up with that to give some context to share like kind of what has been your journey.
Absolutely, that's exactly my goal. I'm here to share my basically my story to motivate you guys to take action. My life started in basically I was born in 1980 in Iran, the western part of Iran. 6 months. I was 6 months when the war broke out between Iran and Iraq, which cost millions of lives. I remember shortage of food, standing on line for bread, dead bodies coming back from war. Hundreds of them. I see them on the truck going to a cemetery. I remember being 8 years old, seeing public execution, 2 people hang on the street by government. It was a rough life, and I do not wish those moments even on my enemy. It was just unbearable. My dad was sent to war. I was the oldest kid at home, so I was pretty much in charge of the house. I had to stand in line for bread, gas. Basically, there was no meat. We were just it was just a chaos. There was no way out of it. Life was the war ended and the country was all broken, and we would keep moving from one town to another for my dad to make some money. And I was around 8 years old. I started doing taekwondo. Most of the things like bodybuilding, even video cassette was illegal in Iran at the time. The government banned it because it was the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran. Even men wearing short sleeve was illegal. The women covering. It was just insane. We were boxed into this country, and it was only 2 TV channels with propaganda, just against America, against everybody, just because the government was trying to brainwash the people. So there was no way out of the pain, and I was a skinny kid. I was a really skinny kid. I had a white skin, and I had green eyes. I was getting bullied at the school. People were thinking I'm soft, and I was coming home. Whenever I was complaining to my dad, he would beat me up too, because he was telling me, oh, you're not defending yourself. It was hell outside. It was hell inside the house. It was just, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of this. So I started doing taekwondo, getting better at it. I started making a name for myself. I was doing good. But not I even went competing, and I went all the way to national team, but I was not selected to go to national team because we were part of a religious minority, so they refused to give us job and everything. There was no way out. One day I'm playing soccer in the dirt, and one of my friends, he showed me a picture of Arnold. I've never seen a bodybuilding picture before because it was illegal. So I said, "Oh my God, this guy represent everything I wanted to be. He's a strong, he's happy. He was at Venice Beach with
Yeah.
with a woman, with a picture with a woman." I said, "Man, I want to be this guy. That's it. If I be this guy, all my problem will go away." So I start collecting bodybuilding pictures, going to black market, collecting bodybuilding picture. There was no bodybuilding gym, so I go back of a wrestling. There was a wrestling gym back of it. There was a bar and a couple of dumbbells. So I started lifting weight, but I wasn't making much of a gain because I wasn't eating food. There was we only eat bread and
Mm.
rice. There was no meat to that much meat. So I was keep going at it. I've been moving from one town to another. Then I end up going to university. And one day on a spring break, when I come home, we're playing with the air gun in the backyard. I noticed my uncle noticed that I can't see with. I noticed that I can't see with my right eye. I see it blurry. So they told me to go to doctor. So I went to doctor, and they find that I have cancer in my right eye. And in Iran, it wasn't treatable. They said we don't have the thing to treat it. Anywhere I go, people think I'm gonna die. To my mom every day she's crying. My grandma, anywhere I go, people thinking this is it. And I'm walking around, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm thinking this can't be it. My dad gave me $100, and I left Iran. I left Iran illegally because I didn't go to military service or anything. So I left Iran. I ended up in a refugee camp in England. Just going through these places, I ended up in a refugee camp in England. Hundreds of people running away from the country, coming running away from the country. It was chaos. I don't speak a word of English, so I just learned. I'm looking for a job, so I started going to the shops like I find the street, so I would hit them up every shop, pizza place, restaurant, anywhere. I just go in and ask them, "Hey, I'm looking for a job." They said, "No job." I'll go to the
Mm.
next one. No job. I go to the next one. Then one guy, he told me, "Come on in and work in a pizza shop." I work in a pizza shop as passing out flyers, helping out inside. And at night, I didn't have anywhere to go, so I slept in a pizza shop. I saved up as much money as I could, and the owner helped me out too. So I paid money to for my cancer to treat my cancer, but I lost my right eye. But they with the laser when they were trying to kill the cancer.
Jeez.
Life was brutal in England too because I ran away from Iran thinking, man, once I get there, life is going to be good. But in England, unfortunately, at the time there was a lot of people running away from the country, a lot of refugee coming to England, and English people at the time they were really upset about it. I could understand, no problem, but it was every day on TV, send these people back, deport them, blah blah blah. It was a very aggressive. We were not welcome, and I was so
Mm.
disappointed. And there were a bunch. I was so disappointed. I told myself, I gotta just focus on being a bodybuilder. Once I'm a champion, people will love me, and they will. So I started training at the gym.
Hey,
Uh,
can I just pause you there for a second? I'm just curious to like learn a little more about like your mindset there. I mean, like it seems like stopping or no was never an option. Like what how did you already have that type of perspective?
it was just when I reflect back at the time, to be honest, I was just pushing. I was just running away from pain. I was just happy that I'm away from Iran. That was the thing that the main thing was for me not to go back to Iran. That is
Mm.
that was my mindset. So could that mean backwards? So anything, I'll rather be homeless in America, in England, but not to go back. So that's how determined I was because back home my family didn't have money, so I was keep sending money to them. My sister wanted to get married. My dad wanted to switch house. So I was the only hope. I was the only hope that everything was on me. So I could not give up. I couldn't collapse. I was keep pushing myself, and I was telling myself a story. There's one thing that I want to share with the listeners is sometimes you build stories, delusional story. You have to tell yourself that delusion is not real, just to survive the moment. Just to
Mm.
survive, you have to tell that this is good coming, or the way you talk to yourself is so important, so important. So that's the voice was in my head. I was constantly envisioning myself being a Mr. Olympia, being a champion. So I escaped reality. I learned this in Iran when I was a kid. When I was seeing all those pain, I would escape reality by dreaming, by visioning, by doing stuff. So I carried that on even later on. Nowadays, of course, I've become conscious about it, and I did a lot of therapy stuff. I understood what I did at those time. At the time, I wasn't even conscious about it, what I'm doing. But that's how I survived all those time, by telling
Wow.
myself stories.
No, that's impressive. I was just here. I mean, because I would say most people would have stopped trying. Like, sorry, when you feel like you're just hitting like roadblock after roadblock and difficulty after difficulty. I mean, I can't imagine obviously to be in that type of scenario and at that age. Where you haven't, where you're, I mean, you're still extremely young at that point, obviously, and trying to figure things out. I mean, that's wild that you were able to obviously keep that mindset.
Yeah, the thing I had, my distraction was bodybuilding. And
Mm.
as I said, I couldn't speak English, so but I was so keen, and I was reading magazines. I learned my English through reading bodybuilding magazine. I never went to school, and
Oh,
so
wow.
I read bodybuilding because I was so curious to find out how these people, basically what they're saying in the magazine. So I was so reading it, and I was
Mm.
reading every magazine that I can. At night, I was watching YouTube. Now I had access to an internet in England, so I was learning and I love talking to people. I love people in general. So I was basically constantly engaging, and as I said, I was getting lost in my dream.
Mm.
I was getting lost in my dream. I found this gym in Birmingham. Well, I was at the time. It was an old school gym, bodybuilding gym, and belonged to Dorian Yates, 6 times Mr. Olympia. It was a
Oh.
dungeon. It was a dungeon underneath, and I went downstairs the first day, and I couldn't believe it. They're playing the hardcore metal music and pushing themselves, and I was right away. I joined the gym. And I started training hard. And I started learning how Dorian trained. I started learning that he trained HIT, learned it from Mike Menzer. Mike Menzer learned it from Artie Jones. So I studied all of them. But as I said, life was really tough in England, and it wasn't fun. It was just we were not welcome, and I could feel it. And I told myself, you know what, this is not it. I gotta go and chase my dream. So I was very young. I bought a fake passport. I said, I'm gonna go to America, and I went to the airport, and I got on a plane. As soon as I landed in America, the police came inside. They told me, you stand up. Everyone seated, remain seated. I stood up. They put a handcuff on me, and I spent my first year in America in maximum security prison. Every day they taking me, CIA, FBI. Many of these agencies are taking me and interviewing me to see who I am. How did I pass all this security, all this stuff? So nobody could believe it at the beginning, because they thought I'm an Albanian because I was white and green.
Oh.
Something that worked back home against me, they work here. So they
Yeah.
thought I'm Albanian, and when I passed through, but then they find out. So I stayed there, and then after almost a year, I saw a judge, and the judge granted me asylum. They shook my hand, and I told him, I'm sorry, I know I broke the law, and I deserve it, whatever happened, and I'm going to be a productive member of the society from now on. So the judge shook my hand. Actually, it was at that moment welcomed me, and now I'm homeless on the street of Chicago, walking on the street, and I have no money and no shoelaces. I'm out of prison, no shoelaces. So in a corner, every corner of the bridge or anywhere I go, people know I'm out of prison. People who've been in
Mm.
prison, they know. You got no shoelaces. You're walking around wondering. And I said to myself, man, if I'm out in the street, I'm gonna get killed, or I'm gonna kill someone.
Mm.
So I told myself, what should I do? I had when the guys from the prison, I had a few phone numbers. There were a bunch of guys that they converted and they become Christian, and they were they become good people. A lot of people changed in prison. So one of them was a really good guy. I reached out to him. I said, hey, can you help me out? I'm on the street. So he was from Guatemala. His name is Braulio. I want to mention him because I'm so grateful to him. So he said, "Yeah, I'll pick you up." And they picked me up at the family. He had a basement. He threw a mattress in a basement. He was working in a restaurant himself, the poor guy. So I stayed there, and I was keep going to library. I was going to library, printing out papers. I was reading it. making sure that basically uh, I have everything that I understand the country, how the system works. And Chicago snows. Chicago snow. Sometimes they would take me to clean houses with them. So I would they clean houses. So I would spend the money on them, buying microwave or buying milk for the kids. I was just trying to give back. I was money, helping out with the house stuff. As soon as the first snow hit, I said to myself, I got to go to California because where I grew up in Iran, western part of Iran, also snowed, and I remember all those bad times, the war and being
Mm.
cold, being wet, soaking wet. I just didn't want to remember those days. So I jumped on a train, $130, $135. After 2, 3 days, I ended up in California, homeless at the Union Station here. And I came out. I told the guy, "Hey man," it was a taxi driver. I said, "Hey, where the Persians are, drop me off. Where the Iranians are." And he dropped me off in Glendale. I think I paid him $20 or something. He dropped me off in Glendale. Drop me on. I'm walking the street. I'm looking for a job. I'm going the same style as England. I was going to each shop and asking, but America is so big. I couldn't even cross the
Yeah.
street. You can't walk around and look for a job. So I found in paper one of these stand. He had a security job. So I called the guy, and it was 2008, middle of a recession. It was tough. So I found this security job, graveyard shift. I started working at night from 11 to 7 a.m. and I would come home, sleep. Everything was so scheduled. Now I told myself, no one can stop me now. I'm in America. So I was eating precise, perfect. I was getting now. I told myself I gotta step on a stage and become a world champion. I'm here now. So I start training hard at Gold's Gym, getting ready for the show. I got ready for the show. I competed onto the stage. I was so stoked, and I couldn't believe it that finally all those dreams that I'm now having. So now it was time to take it to the next level. It was time now to basically take more supplement, take the diet even more serious. But that needed money. So I told myself, hey, before I do that, I'll go see my family. After this was about 12, it's been almost 12 years. I haven't seen my family. So with my asylum seeker, with my refugee passport that America gave me at the time, I was able to go to Turkey, not to Iran, to Turkey, to a neighboring country.
Mm.
My family came, my brother is all grown up, my sister got a kid. I couldn't believe it. I was just crying.
Wow.
And here I am with nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm basically, even the ticket to go there, I kind of borrowed some money to go there. It was, I just had a dream and I was so embarrassed. And I told myself, man, this is not the way to go. So on the way back, I was just praying. I said, man, this is very, I just know I have no family, no kid, just a dream of being a bodybuilder. So I came back, I went back to my security job and they fired me. They fired me. And now I'm back to square one. And this is around 2000, end of 2010. And I'm looking for a job. A lot of soldiers are coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, and they're looking for the same job, security job. And these guys are professional. These guys are an army.
Mm.
So of course they get the job. They're not going to give it to me, and they absolutely deserve it more than I do because, as I said, they're professional, and I'm a regular guy. So I can't catch a break. Unemployment gave me like a back pay, like a few months because they fired me for no reason. They gave me like $3,000. I remember the check when I opened it. I couldn't believe it. I've never had that much money in my hand. I said, "Oh my God, this is it. This is all I have. So I got to do something with it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was on Craigslist looking at it. This guy said gym for a rent, and I looked at it. There was just one hallway. There was nothing in it, and it was nothing, absolutely nothing. He had and he called the gym, and I went and I said, no, I think $1,900. So I called him. I said, I want to come look at it. And I came and I said, there's nothing. I said, where's the gym? He said, this was a gym before. I said, okay. So I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna make this work. I gave him the $1,900. He wanted the 1900, another 1900 for as a security. I didn't have it. I told him, hey man, just he was Egyptian. I told him, brother, just give me a chance. I'll get you the money in a month. So I bought it. I had a bar and a couple of dumbbells and a plate. I had a couple of plates and I put it outside on a big banner. I made a banner saying, lose up to 15 pounds a month. That's it. I sat I sat inside the gym, absolutely nothing. I didn't know what to do. In the afternoon, I would just go. I'll print out some flyers. I'll put it on a car sometimes, and the pavilions or something like that. And I was just sitting there praying, God, please bring somebody through those doors. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know anything about business. I have no idea how things work. I just got a DBA from the here Van Nuys is this town here. I went there, got it for $14. I paid that, and that was it. I had no idea that taxes work. I have to pay taxes. I had nothing. And I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. So people coming in and tell me, "Where's the gym?" I said, "This is the gym." I said, "How are you going to train me? There's no equipment. There's nothing here." I said, "You pay me, and I'll get you in shape. Don't worry." But I was really good at training. I have to say, I'm an expert on training. I knew how to train because back home in Iran, when back of a wrestling gym, I was training with those barbell. There was no gym. There was one barbell and a couple of dumbbells. So I learned a lot how to train.
Mm.
I was killing people with the one dumbbell with the barbell and the plates. I would have the plate in their hand to bring it up. I would have many manipulated those exercises so much. People loved it. They loved my
Wow.
passion. I was in shape and I was in really, really like pushing myself too for training. And one friend coming in, I usually made them throw up, and then they would bring their friend. Hey, make my friend throw up. I said, okay, just bring him. I ended up having a mayor of Culver City even coming to my gym, and then he bring his friend in that little. It was less than 1,000 square feet in my gym. So anybody that paid me, I bought another equipment. I wasn't able to get credit card or loan or anything because I didn't have credit history in this country. So I wasn't able to get anything. I didn't have family. I didn't have nothing. So which was a good thing. I didn't know it
Mm.
at the time. Later on, I find out. So everything that I bought, I made many mistakes, of course, along the way, but I wasn't able to rush the process because I didn't have the money.
Mm.
I didn't have the capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started adding one equipment at a time, and I was making sure that equipment really works. That
Mm-hmm.
am I doing much with it? Of course, I made mistake buying wrong equipment, blah, blah. So I learned a lot about it. I learned people start getting attracted, and word of mouth kept going. And and clients that they were coming to me, I was selling sessions. I was selling session, hey, 5 session, 10 session. I was just
Mm-hmm.
copying other trainers, what they're doing, and I'll reduce my rate. And that's how
Yeah.
I started. I'm pretty sure all of the listeners that they own a gym, that's or personal training, that's how they do it. But I was attracting a lot of successful people to my gym. So a lot of successful people from Culver City, they were coming to getting personal training. So they started giving me advice. They liked me. They liked a little bit of my story, and they were giving me tips about tech, about things. I remember after 3 years, someone told me, "Are you a S corp?" And I told him, "What is that?" And he said, "Oh, you're not corporation." After 3 years, I'll find out what is corporation means and everything. So they helped me out. And one day, I had this client walk in for the first time. I'd say his name is Daniel Rosen. He's a software guy. So he started giving me advice about building my site, how to charge people. He started giving me tips. So anything he was telling me, I was applying it. He couldn't believe it. I said, "Oh, you're crazy. Anything I tell you, do anything he was telling me, I was doing it, and I was getting a little more successful, a little more." So I start changing my packages to a monthly package because at one point I sat down and realized I 360 session. I've collected money from people, but I don't have the money. I ate it. I paid it. I paid the bills. I paid it. And I said, "Oh my God, this is not the way to go. If something happened to me today, I owe this money." So I built this system that hey, is a monthly recurring. And because I didn't have much equipment at the beginning, my session was 30 minutes. I couldn't do 1 hour training. What am I going to do? So my session was 30 minutes. I had to kill the guy in 30 minutes. I had to tax that muscle in 30 minutes. So that became my system. Every 30 minutes, I was training people. So, and then another thing I realized I only train one person at a time. So I said to myself, let's bump it up to two, three people. And then I realized I have six packs gym, six packs, group of six. So I
Mm.
put six people in a class. So I train them, bodybuilding style, and with it, and I start systemizing my training. I start systemizing my training, and kept going. The gym was becoming more successful. I'm attracting more people. The money is coming in, and suddenly COVID happens. COVID
Mm.
happens, and uh, now I'm getting a kick in the teeth. And now everybody is shutting the gym down for 3 months. One, what am I gonna do? I have all this experience. I'm build a machine here at the gym, but now it's shut down. So I told myself, my mentor Daniel said, sit down and write down everything you're doing, all the processes, everything you've done, your story, your life, everything since the day you start. Man, I sat down just in my garage with my dog, Rhino, and I started writing my story that I told you earlier on, where I come from, everything. And I was crying and writing, crying and writing. Everything was coming up for me. It was a therapy, to be honest, in those 3 months. So I wrote about 600 pages of my whole life. And then the gym opened up, but they announced it can be only outdoor. So I had a little bit of a space outside, and I told myself, if I go home, I will lose everything I have. I'm gonna make something. So I pulled the benches outside. I said, I'm going back to the day one with a dumbbell and a barbell, and we're not going in. So I started training people, and people were passing by, they seeing me. Gym got busier and busier. Now I was stuck because now everything depended on me and my personality. What can I do? Build a team. And I know you're all about that. So I started I started learning from Alex Scharfen, which unfortunately he doesn't teach anymore, but he's one amazing coach at a time. So I started learning how to build team, how to have communication daily, weekly meetings, how to hire true believers. So I started hiring my own clients, the people that who have been here, they got the result, they are true believers. So I started onboarding them. They were right away, they were getting on board because they knew what's going on and they respected me. So I started building a team. Once I started building a team, business exploded even bigger. It became even bigger because now we had different characters. People are appealing to different crowd. Some people may come and not everyone loves Siavash. So, but they can maybe relate to Perry. Maybe they can relate to Earl. Maybe they can see themselves in someone else. Maybe Jenna or Michelle. So I started building a team and I started building this communication, and I made sure that I document all my processes. So I leave nothing to a chance and nothing is depending on me. The gym is doing fantastic right now. It's less than 1,000 square feet and we're doing more than 1 million at this location. And my goal and my dream is to have six pack gym. I think this type of gym, a small gym, when I looked around, I saw Equinox, I saw even Gold's Gym going to a direction of being pretty, and all the stuff that I saw in Iran and what motivated me, that camaraderie, that community, is not most of the gym are losing it. And I'm hoping that six pack gym can keep that old school bodybuilding, that tradition, that American tradition bodybuilding alive. And I'm just committed and hoping that one day, and that's my mission. And as you said, thank you so much for talking about my book as well. And any of you listeners, if they ever want to read my story and what I'm telling you here is on my book, Small Gym Big Result, which they can go to the same website as Small Gym Big Result to purchase it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite an amazing journey, and like how things have unfolded. Yeah, I wanted to hit on a couple of things that you said of like the fact that you grew from a place of lack, so you had to be resourceful. You like I love that. I don't know if Damon John, the shark. He
Mhm.
has that book, like The Power of Broke.
Mhm.
That mentality of operating from a broke mentality, because like you're going to look at things differently. You're going to attack things differently. You're going to be more resourceful. You're not going to just be quick to pull the trigger because you have it, and like that
Correct.
definitely changes your mindset, and like you're going to be more calculated.
Mhm.
And I think we see it all the time, like, with like the startup culture and like Silicon Valley. So they celebrate their burn rate, like they just, like it's crazy. Yeah, it's a totally different like mentality, but I would say most small business owners, I mean, like, we can't operate like that. It's like we need to be strategic with what we do.
Yes.
uh,
You can't be just throwing money at stuff without it really, yeah. Otherwise, you go broke really fast.
yeah, no, absolutely. And then once you do have the money, then it's like then you have that discipline in place. So now you start being able to leverage having more resources,
Mhm.
but because you've built up that muscle
Mhm.
of discipline with how you choose to do things, and it's now that money's actually, it's not just going to disappear in a month,
Mhm.
because you've had that time. So I mean, I think that's really important to point out there, and I think that's like a thread that you see through a lot of people who build like successful businesses, successful gyms, is starting out from that place of lack, because you have to operate on a different level.
Absolutely. And you said it perfectly. And one thing I want to say, Justin, that people confuse, I think, at the beginning stage, what I'm experiencing, the beginning stage, making it up to 1 million, it was all about my intensity.
Mm,
But when you start building a team, you need to let that intensity go and
mm.
start delegating, right? Because if you are that intense, you will burn everybody around you. So,
Yeah, yeah.
right, you can't be that. So you got to pull back. But people sometimes have it backward. They're not they're intense in the wrong place when they're building a team, and then when they're on their own, they're not intense. So
Mm,
I just want to bring to people attention. Each stage of a business require a different person, and you grow along the business. You have to allow it. You have to allow it. Just be in tune with the business. Let it. You cannot grow a business without growing yourself. That's why when you're throwing money at
mm.
it, the business is not going to grow because you didn't change. You just throw some money at it. The business will grow you as a person. It's been one of the most wonderful thing that happened to me, the business, because it forced me, it cornered me. It's really,
Mm.
it humble you, it
Yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
squeezes you and it humbles you, and you have to get out of it. You can't give up. Just got to keep swinging till you're out of that corner.
No, definitely. So I love what you said there. Like, obviously, you have to evolve and level up, with as your business evolves and levels up. Like I said, obviously, otherwise, I mean, you'd be your greatest bottleneck. If your business can't exceed, obviously, where you're at, as a
Right.
leader, as a business owner, as a person. So, like, what does today look like for you? Like, how are you operating today? What does a day look like for you?
Yeah. So my life, to be honest, as of now, if I wanted to retire, I can because
Mm,
the gym has been running since 5:30 in the morning right now till which I'm talking to you right now. Absolutely, the gym doesn't need me. I'm just the face, basically doing the marketing. People, of course, I'm the face, but the gym itself run like a machine, and we're doing really good. I bought a big house here in LA, right next to the beach. I have muscle cars. My life is really good. My goal right now is to start teaching other people how to do this, how to start a small gym and don't let them to get burned out. So I start building all these processes for gym builders. Gym builders, I build certification for them. I certify them as how to train people, basically how to turn this passion to profit. Because a lot of people come into this business and they love it. They love training people. They love
mm,
people, but they go in and they get burned out because they don't have a system. They run it. They run it with their
mm.
personality, and it's fun. It boosts your ego. I mean, it's awesome. People come here and say, "I want to see Siavash only. I want to only train with Siavash." It's really good, but when it comes to scaling it, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have problems. So the system, now I'm teaching the system to others. That's why I wrote a book, which part of my value ladder for people to see what I've built. And if they wanted to open their own six packs gym, I'll teach them how to go about it. And it's a very small fee for a yearly fee. And I support them all the way, pretty much to start a gym, run it and grow it.
So are you doing like a franchise model?
A licensing model. The
Licensing?
franchising
Okay.
model, what I notice, is very involved, and licensing, I want them to do their own thing. I don't
Mm,
want it to be a part of their business. I don't want to take a portion of their money, nothing. I just want them to open a gym, a small fee to us, of course, because I have those certification for them. I have a certification
hmm.
that I certify their team, which is for six packs team, how the operation, they can just study a certification, and then I'll make everybody that their team as a head coach certification I have, and I have three more certification that will teach them how to basically start and run the gym all the way to building a team.
Got it. Okay, that makes complete sense.
Mhm.
And so that's an exciting pivot. Is that a more of a recent focus, or has that been kind of in the works for a while now?
So it's been a work for a while. I'm basically building all the content and building everything that around that,
Mm,
supporting those people. And of course, there's a lot of legal stuff that I've been taking care of, lawyers, making domains, and I have a new software now that I built that I will pass. I'll be passing it on to the gym builders. I have an app now for the gym, for this small gym. So all those are going to be passed on. I'm basically, since they're writing the book, was the first part of that, which I would say about 5 years of me just putting in work. And this year is the goal to basically push this part, the licensing part, big
Mm.
time.
Awesome. That's exciting to hear. And it's always good to hear like good products being put out there and supporting gym owners. Because like you said, it definitely is one of the unique industries where it is filled with people that come into this space more for the passion than to build a successful business. Whereas other industries, it's usually the other way around, uh, which is great. But then also it can be like building that starving artist mentality, which isn't great either, because then you're not serving anyone.
Correct. The thing is, a lot of us, we go to the gym and train and we love the environment, and then we're going to turn it to a business, and then we'll
Mm.
bring it and we look around and copy the bad habit of other trainers, which you see around you,
Yeah.
and that what makes you basically after a while you get burned out. I mean, you're going to
Mm.
be in a hustle for a long time. It's a very rewarding business, I have to say. It's more than the money for us. When I see a girl or a guy coming in first day, and a girl a few weeks later, I see her clothes changing, wearing a brighter
Mm.
color. She's changed and she has a better attitude. It's just like you can see the smile on their face, and they're all showering me with love and thank you. On the reviews, it's just such an amazing feeling. You want to do more of it. It's it's a
Mm.
it's a very rewarding feeling. But if you don't have a system, oh man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be
Mm.
really tough. You're going to make it. It's going to be stressful. And yes, you might make a living, which most people make maybe $30,000 a year or something, but you'll never be in a position that you're comfortable and you can basically walk away from the gym, and
Mm.
the gym runs on its own. So that's the goal of every business, that you be able to step away at one point. At the
Yeah.
beginning, you gotta work hard, of course.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, you want to make sure you're building something that's an asset
Mhm.
that gives you options, like whether you want to sell or whatever. I
Exactly.
mean, whatever makes sense for you, obviously, at that point in your life. But ultimately, the goal is to have options at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
correct.
so, what does like you personally operate like in terms of like how do you maintain at like peak performance? How do you know what to focus on, what not to focus on? Like how do you make sure you are like the CEO? Like what does it look
Absolutely.
like for
So
you?
I have a system that I call it a six core function. Everything I have is a six, with a divided into six. So I call this six core function. So I will this is another advice that I would like to give the listeners. Even if you have a small company, if it's if a two, three of you guys, make sure you have a daily meeting. If it's only 10 minutes, only 10 minutes. And even if I have it on a Slack, so I can't get all the trainers together. So we have a daily meeting like that. I have a weekly meeting as well, and I have a monthly meeting. These are very important. I can't emphasize enough. Most gyms don't have it. They think, oh, they know what to do, and we leave it to common sense. This is a big mistake. So,
Mm.
what I do every month, I go over this six core function. One is a lead gen, the other one is nurture, the other one is conversion, how the sales are going. The fourth one is delivery, how we training people. The fifth one is retention, and the sixth one upsell. So I
Mm.
look at it and I score myself. I score myself where we can improve. Where did we get enough leads? Oh no, the leads are no good. So now I know this. We got to put it on. I got to focus on the lead, either doing organic advertising, whatever I have to do, or maybe nurturing. We're getting leads and we're not following up good enough. So that six core function let me know where I need to basically put the attention on. And then most of that, if it's belong to the gym, I basically delegate it. I have people that I'm delegating it to. Right now, when it comes to right now with the gym licensing the gym, most of my time uh, goes into making videos, kind of educating the team, educating the trainers. So not, right now, my job is all about educating, passing on the knowledge at this point.
Mm. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So it's like you definitely have you've gone through the evolution of obviously like being like the operator to now being like the builder of people. Like and essentially, it's like that's kind of like what your
Yep,
focus is more so than like I said, obviously being in the daily operations
correct.
and running the business. So, and I wanted to hear that and point that out because like to kind of like pull that curtain back to obviously that's like the whole point of like purpose of why we're doing this season, this theme of like talking to seven-figure gym owners, to kind of pull a curtain back and see like, okay, like this is like how you have to operate. This is what it looks like when you get to this level. And like you said before, how you have to evolve to these different perspectives as the
Yeah.
leader. You can't keep that same perspective and expect to obviously have a business that's going to be around for 10, 20, 30 plus years. You will, like you said before, I mean, you'll burn out, obviously, well before then.
Absolutely, that's correct.
So, as I mentioned before too, I was work towards wrapping up. I wanted to see if you can like, I mean, you shared a lot of great insights already, but if you had to sum it up into whether it be like 1 to 3 pieces of advice for someone listening to the show, that's either maybe a trainer that's looking to advance their career, or a small business owner that has their own gym and is looking to obviously grow their gym, what would you say is the most impactful pieces of advice that would help them on their journey?
Again, I want to give you a couple. First one is anyone that listening. If you're going through a tough time, if you're going through a hard time, remember that tough time will be your asset one day.
Mm.
Look, my book, everything that I talk about today, it was all those pains, right? But now it's my asset and I share it with other people and other people learn from it. So hang in there. You will get through this, no doubt. This is a phase and you will get through it. Don't, there's no doubt. That's the first thing. And then I want to say, when you get stuck and you get feedback from people or a client walking up to you telling you, hey, this doesn't work, do not change your whole system. Do not throw the whole thing out and then start a new one fresh. I've seen this many times, even other businesses. They throw the whole thing and they start a new thing. No, it's like opening a box that is like it has a code on it. You have to turn the knob slowly, one by you just turn it one, and then you turn the other knob one, and then the other one. So eventually you will open the box. But if you keep turning that knob 360 all the time, you'll never find the code, right? So do not change your system based on emotion and stuff like that, because some
Mm.
days you wake up or rattled and you have anxiety and then you just go to a bad place and you make a decision. That's
Mhm.
not. Make sure all your decision is based on data. Hey, I want to do advertising. Just don't throw a bunch of money out there. Make sure the
Yeah.
ROI is there. Don't go too much with your gut. At the beginning, yes, there is some decision that need to go by gut, but don't do everything by gut, because it's just that's not how you run a business, and even you can't have a team around you because
Mm.
you are very unpredictable. So
Mhm.
I would say these are the two thing. And another thing that I want to tell you is, remember, you are leading. You are a trainer. You are a. I always tell my team that trainers are superheroes. Um,
Mm.
I can hear. Is it your kid?
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. That's a blessing. That's a
Yeah.
blessing.
He makes
Uh,
his appearance every now and
it's all good. Yeah, of course.
then.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Uh, the thing is, yeah, these are these are very important. I would pay attention to these. And another, I want another thing, that you are a leader. You are a leader of your movement. Make sure you're representing. Do
Mm.
not be moody. One day happy, one day down. Your approach has always should be consistent. In everything you do, you should be consistent. Your appearance, the way you approach people, the way you make your videos, anything that you do, your training, your diet, everything should be consistent, because that's what you're preaching. So these are the couple of things that I would love to share with the guys. I think with the listeners, and hopefully that's that's helpful to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a powerful way to wrap up this conversation. But those are definitely some great insights and some things that I hope you take to heart. I mean, again, if you're listening to this, like we always say, like application is where you're going to get the results. So it's great, like to absorb this, hear this information. If you want, like obviously pick up his book, we'll have it in the show notes as well. But get the information and then apply, take action. Like there has to be some action there, obviously. So, no, Siavash, I definitely appreciate your time and your dedication to this industry, obviously, and to be a positive contributor to it, and being able to have you come on the show today and share your story. So, thank you.
Thank you so much again for having me on your show. I know you built a platform and how much work this is. So thank you again for having me.
No, absolutely. It's our pleasure. And then just a quick reminder also, you can head over into the show notes to grab our hiring scorecard if that is an area that you want more support in. Otherwise, we will see you on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and were able to pull out insights to apply to your own business. If you found this episode valuable, please show your support by leaving a review and sharing it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful conversations with top industry leaders. Then be sure to jump into the show notes to get access to our hiring scorecard to build high-performing teams that translates into a thriving gym. See you on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show, where we'll be diving deeper into the strategies and mindset of another 7-figure gym owner. Until then, keep crushing your goals.